Hi guys, it's Jodie and welcome to a new video. So today I have a huge book haul and I'm so excited to talk about all of these books. We have 65 books to get through. So yes, we have a lot. So yeah, make sure you go and grab yourself a hot drink and a cozy blanket, get all comfy and get ready to watch this video and hopefully get some good book recommendations as well. But before we get into all of the books I have to talk about today, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, who is Serious Readers. So thank you guys so much for sponsoring another video. I have already worked with them on 2 videos beforehand, so you may have already seen those videos and be familiar with them. If you're not, then make sure you do listen to this part of the video, because this is a company I have really enjoyed working with and also just generally really do love their product. They're literally just the best thing and I'm honestly just so thankful I get to work with them. So Serious Readers are a British company and they make their lights in Britain. Basically they create reading lights which I would say are the perfect reading lights. I have 2 and I honestly just don't know how I ever managed to live without them. I absolutely love them. So the one I have next to my bed I will link in the description box down below. But basically Serious Readers uses daylight wavelength technology, which basically replicates like sunlight and daylight as closely as is possible with technology. So when you're reading with these lights, they are literally like reading in the day. And like I've said in my other videos, if you're in the UK right now, it gets dark at like 4 p.m. We do not have much daylight, and even when we do, it's super gloomy. So these lights have literally been a lifesaver for me to be able to read, and they have like an adjustable setting so you can adjust how bright it is and things and the intensity of the light. And honestly I love it. I can have it on the really low setting and it does not disturb Jamie while he's sleeping next to me in bed, and I can have it on the full setting when I need it as well. And you can also move it around to be able to get in like the best comfortable position to read with. They are also fully customizable, so you can choose like the metal, the color and the base as well to make it exactly how you want it to. And we have the Serious Lights range, which consists of high definition, Alex light and a classic light, and these are the lights that use the daylight wavelength technology. And Serious Readers has very kindly given me a code, which is Jodie7. I'll have all the information on the screen here, but this code will enable you to get a free compact light that's worth £150 with any purchase made for the Serious Lights range. So I'll have it all listed on the screen here, and it will also include free international shipping as well with this code. So yes, I'll have all the information linked down below, including the light I personally got for myself, and I adore my compact light as well. I use it for journaling, I have it on my desk and it's perfect. But yes, I hope you guys do go and check them out, because I honestly just seriously cannot recommend them enough. I absolutely love my light. And yes, thank you so much to Serious Readers for sponsoring another one of my videos. But yes, let's get into all of the books. So because I have so many books to talk to you guys about, I'm not going to give like a full synopsis for every single book, because 65 books, that would just take me way too long. Like this video would just be ridiculously long. So I'm gonna just like talk through them quite quickly, and I've tried to group them into different categories as well. And for those of you who don't know, I am a bookseller, so I get sent a lot of books from publishers, and I also get an extremely good discount at work, so that enables me to be able to buy a lot more books. And I love personally to be able to support the publishing industry by buying many books and supporting obviously bookstores and authors and such as well. So yes, please rest assured I'm very happy with how I spend my own hard-earned money. And if you don't like book hauls, then please click off this video, because this is definitely not for you. But for those of you who do enjoy book hauls, then make sure you do stick around for all of the books I'm about to talk about. So first, let's go through this stack here, which is all of the books I've received from Illumicrate and Fairy Loot over the last like month or 2. So yeah, we have a few books here to talk about. So the first one I have from Fairy Loot, which was an extra in their October box I believe, and that is Princess of Souls by Alexandra Christo. So from what I know about this one, this is by the same author who wrote To Kill a Kingdom, and I read that book a few years ago and I absolutely loved it. It's a very good YA enemies to lovers, and it includes a mermaid and a mermaid hunter, like a princess and a prince I think it was as well. It was very good, and I believe this does take place inside the same world. And it says here that our main character is the heir to a powerful magic, locked away in a tower by a cruel king. Her destiny is to foretell death and harvest doomed souls to feed his immortality. He sounds pleasant. And then we have Knox, who's a soldier who spent years plotting his vengeance against the crown and blah blah blah, and he plans to kill this girl as well in order to get his revenge. Then their like futures become entwined somehow, and they end up on this breathtaking adventure where I'm sure there is romance. So yes, this does sound really, really good, and because I enjoyed her previous novel so much, I definitely do want to read this one. So this is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition, which is gorgeous. I love the moon phases. We have orange sprayed edges, and it is also signed as well. Then next we have the adult only book of the month like thing from Fairy Loot. So I was very kindly gifted this because I am currently a rep for Fairy Loot. So this one is the most recent release from Veronica Roth, who wrote the Divergent series, which I've read most of. I think I've read the first 2 books but not the last one, and I was a big fan of her writing back in the day, but I've never read anything recent. So this one's called Poster Girl, and I believe this is a dystopian. So yeah, we have this cover here, and then this is the sprayed edges that come on the book. It is also signed by the author, and we do have some art under the dust jacket as well, which just looks like this. So I had never heard of this book until I received it in the Fairy Loot box, but it says that it has razor sharp prose. Poster Girl is a haunting dystopian mystery that explores the expanding role of surveillance on society, an inescapable reality that we welcome all too easily. So to me, this is giving like Big Brother vibes. It's giving like Brave New World / 1984 by Orwell. So yeah, it definitely does sound very, very interesting, and I haven't really read a book like this before, so I feel like it would be like really, really interesting to see kind of like the social commentary that's woven in here based off our own reality, but in this dystopian reality, if that makes sense. So I am definitely intrigued by this, and I think the cover's really, really cool as well. Then next we have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and I believe this is Fairy Loot's book for their YA box in October, which I was very kindly gifted as a rep. So you all know I've been a subscriber to Fairy Loot for the last 5 years now, so I genuinely do love their books, and I was very, very excited to receive this one because I've had my eye on this book. This is supposed to be like a fairy tale-esque, dark, romantic, gothic kind of story, and yeah, just look at the cover. It's beautiful. I'm obsessed with it. It has these really cool end pages inside as well, which look like this, and then underneath has this really cool design of like almost like a werewolf looking thing, and it has a reversible dust jacket as well, which I really, really like. And I'm not going to read the full synopsis, I'll just read the kind of little sentence here, but it says One Dark Window is Rachel Gillig's stunning debut novel, a gothic fantasy romance about a maiden who must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom. So I love gothic romantic fantasy, and I'm sure in this book that it's like an ancient spirit that's trapped inside this girl, so I love the sound of that. It just sounds so creepy and sinister, and yeah, I just think this is going to be an amazing book. So I'm very, very happy that I received this one, and honestly I'm obsessed with the cover. So next we have a sequel, which is These Twisted Bonds by Lexi Ryan. This is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition, so I pre-ordered this quite some time ago. I have not read the first book yet, but I was kind of waiting for this one to come out, or for this series to finish. I don't know if it's going to be a series or a duology. I need to look into it, but I'm pretty sure that I will be picking up the first book and this one quite soon, because I need those ACOTAR or Cruel Prince vibes in my life, and this is what this series has been like compared to and stuff. So yeah, I really do want to read it soon. So yeah, this is the sequel to These Hollow Vows, I think it's called, and this has the lovely foiling on the naked book like this, and then it has art under the dust jacket as well with the characters on, which looks like this as well, and it is also signed inside as well. So I'm very, very excited to read these books soon, and yeah, I'm really glad that I pre-ordered this now. So next we have 2 books, and this is the Illumicrate exclusive edition for the Atlas 6 and the Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. So these are gorgeous. I unfortunately missed out on this last year, and I was really, really sad. And when Illumicrate announced they would be doing like the second book, they would also include like the first book, and you could like buy them, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes please, I need both. So I decided to get them, and these are absolutely gorgeous because they have like this holographic design. Like, I don't know if you can really see, but it's just so pretty. I'm not a huge fan of the sprayed edges because they just remind me of bubbles, but at the same time these are absolutely gorgeous, so I have mixed feelings about them. We have amazing like character art on the end pages, and then we have like this design underneath. Both books are also signed as well, and the Atlas Paradox has like these like end pages, and then this design under the dust jacket. So yeah, these are just such gorgeous editions, and I'm so happy that I did manage to get my hands on these. I did actually buy both of these, I was not gifted them, but yes, very, very excited to put these on my shelf because they are gorgeous editions. I'm obsessed with their spines as well. I absolutely love them. Okay, so the last book I have from a book box is the most recent Illumicrate one, which I was very kindly gifted as part of the rep program, and that is The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. So this one I actually already own, and I'll be showing it in this haul, so I won't talk about it, I'll just show it later. I bought the standard hardback before I received this. I don't know for sure if I'm going to keep the standard hardback because I can't decide which edition I prefer, and if I love this I would probably want both, but I don't know. But anyway, this is the Illumicrate exclusive edition. So the original one is purple, but this cover is pink, and I love the skulls embedded in the flowers. I just think it's such a cool design. But it has these really nice floral sprayed edges. It has really pretty end pages, and it is also signed by the author. And that's not all. We have gorgeous foiling on the naked book, and then we have a reversible dust jacket, which is just like, I love that. I really do love it when book boxes do this. So yeah, really cool design. So basically we have our main character who ends up at this like prestigious university, and it's a university that kind of teaches them to like be able to slip between parallel worlds. She has some kind of really awkward encounter with like this pretentious classman that she has to unfortunately endure. So she decides to like try and keep her distance from him, and he has also been ordered to keep far away from her. And apparently there's some kind of voices from the shadows that also call to this girl, so it's kind of weird, and they can't seem to stay away from each other. But then we have a student who turns up dead, and they kind of end up forming this like alliance between them to try and like figure things out, and it's like a forbidden partnership. We also have like secrets at this university. So yeah, it sounds very dark and very mysterious. Very excited for this. I really do hope that there is romance in here, but I don't know if there is. Probably not, but yeah, if there is, I'll be very happy. But yeah, this is the Illumicrate edition, which is very gorgeous. So next I do have some manga to show you guys and a graphic novel, so I'll do these super quick. So the first one I have is the Death Note all-in-one edition, obviously, of Death Note, and this contains every single volume all in one bind up. So this is friggin' huge. It's very heavy, and I could probably kill someone with this. I'm not gonna lie, like, this is a literal weapon. It is so heavy and huge. So yeah, I do want to read all of the Death Note compendium together, but I don't know when I'll get to this because I'm pretty sure there's like a couple thousand pages in here. So yeah, I think I'm going to film a reading vlog reading this entire thing at some point, and I'm very excited too. I read the first 2 volumes a couple of years ago and I really enjoyed it. Okay, so someone knocked at the door and I totally forgot what I was saying, but yeah, I'm planning to do a reading vlog for this, and I'm very excited because I really enjoyed the first 2 volumes when I read this, and I definitely want to continue on with it. So yeah, I decided to pick up this. Then next we have the 4th volume in a series, which is Rose and Blood volume 4. This series was really fun. I read this during Vampathon, so you can head to my Vampathon vlogs to hear more about it. But basically, this is kind of like similar to vampires, but these dudes like crystallize girls and then consume them. It's really weird, but it's really fun, and it has romance in it, and it's very gothic and dark, and I just love it. So yes, I have already read this one and I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for the 5th volume in the series. Then next we have The Ghostly Things of Volume 1. This is essentially a different version of Spirited Away. Basically what it is, and I'm very excited to give this a read. Even the cover just screams Spirited Away, and she ends up in like this haunted mansion filled with ghosts and stuff, and all these weird little supernatural paranormal creatures. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this one. Then next we have Romantic Killer Volume 1. I recently read this. I gave it 5 stars. One of my new favourite manga. I absolutely adored this, but I can't believe I have to wait until next year for Volume 2. It makes me so sad, and I'm trying not to watch the anime before I've read more of it, but I think I'm gonna have to give in soon because I just want to watch it. It's so cute. So yeah, this is basically like a romance manga, and essentially we have this girl who's like obsessed with video games, and she's not interested in boys. She's literally just interested at being at home, playing her video games and eating chocolate with her cat. And then this wizard like comes out of nowhere, and he's like, oh, the birth rate is like decreasing, like we need more young people to fall in love instead of focusing on video games and stuff, so I'm gonna make sure that you find like your one true love and you fall in love and blah blah. And she's like, absolutely not, and this wizard like confiscates her like video games and everything, and he does everything to set up all these kind of situations where she ends up having to like to interact with her classmate, who is like the guy at school everyone's in love with, everyone wants to be friends with, everyone wants him to be their boyfriend, and she could not be any less interested. But they're kind of forced to spend time together. There's like forced proximity, and it's just so good and so cute, and I honestly loved it so much. Then next we have Volume 4 of Creepy Cat, which is literally just a graphic novel about this girl and the creepy cats that she has, and it's kind of fun. It's a manga, but it's kind of like a graphic novel as well. I do like this series. It's just not amazing. I would say it's just fun. It's definitely like a 3-star series, but I am excited to read Volume 4 and see what happens, because I do just read this for the creepy cats. That's the only reason I read this series. Then we have a light novel, which is The Haunted Bookstore, Gateway to a Parallel Universe. So I bought this on a whim, but it sounds so good. It has Japanese folklore in it. It has this girl who like lives in like this spirit world in this like haunted library, and then this guy ends up there from the mortal realm who's like an exorcist, and yeah, they end up spending time together. I think they maybe fall for one another, or it's just like a cute friendship, or one of the two things, I don't know, but it sounds really wholesome and just fun and spooky, and it's a haunted library. Like, come on, I just needed this in my life, so I'm very, very excited to give this a read. And then the last one is a graphic novel, which is Cryptic Club. So this is by Sarah Anderson, who also wrote Fangs, and this glows in the dark here. It's so cool. This essentially is a graphic novel, and it's just filled with like puns, and honestly, like, I love it so much. I gave it 5 stars because it's just so funny. I adored Fangs and I adored this just as much. So if you have read Fangs, make sure you get your hands on this because it is so funny and I loved it. Okay, so next we're moving on to signed, special and pre-orders. So I have quite a few of these to get through and I'm quite excited. So the first one I have is the Heartstopper Yearbook by Alice Oseman, and this is the signed Waterstones one. So I will just show you the signature because it's so cute. I don't know why, but I just find this signature adorable. I'm like, oh, I just love it. But yes, the moment I received this, I read it and I loved it. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was really, really cute. It's just a really nice addition to the Heartstopper series. It's almost like an annual, but it has mini comics in here from some of the side characters. We find out how they met or how their romance is continuing after the last volume of Heartstopper. It also has some character profiles and info in here. We have information on how Alice came up with these characters in the beginning of Heartstopper. We have never before seen illustrations, and there's even a section at the back on how to draw, and it's just a really, really fun little book, and I really, really liked it. And I just think if you're a Heartstopper fan, you do need this. Like, it's just a really fun extra little something to add to the series, and I thought it was really, really adorable, and I loved seeing Nick and Charlie in their Halloween costumes. That was my favourite. Okay, so next is actually a Fairyly one that got mixed into a different pile, but this is one I pre-ordered, and it's Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, and this edition is so pretty. It has blue sprayed edges, and this is one of those tiny little hardbacks, and I don't know why, but I just love that. So it is signed, and it has this really cool design underneath the dust jacket as well. I love blue and gold together. So this one is a historical fantasy, and it has fairies and I think like marriage and stuff in here and all these different things, and it just sounds really, really good, and I adore this cover as well, and I can't wait to read this. I've not really heard many people talk about it, so I will be really interested to see what it's like, and it's quite short, so I think this will probably be on my TBR in January. I don't know why, but every time I look at it I'm like, January. Like, I want to read you in January. So yeah, that's when I plan to pick this up, but I just think it sounds so good. Sounds quite fun, like historical and fairies. Yes, I don't really know much more than that, and I'm trying to actively avoid finding out anything more because I just kind of want to go into this and be surprised and see where the story takes me. I think it's going to be so fun, and I just love this edition as well. Like, I think it's so beautiful. So next we have She and Her Cat, which I got as a signed copy at Waterstones, and I'm so happy that I got a signed edition of this because this is one of my favorite books of the year. So here's a little sticker with the author's signature. Look how cute that is. So I read this book recently and I gave it 5 stars. This is in my top 10 of the year. It's a little spoiler for when that video comes out. I love this so much. This is a book that is, it's so short and simple, but it packs so much into it, and I really, really loved it. It's translated from Japanese and it originates as a manga, so I've read the manga and I wasn't too impressed by the manga. The book is so much better than the manga. In the book we follow 4 different women and their feline companions in this one neighbourhood in Japan, so it encompasses this whole area, and we get perspectives from both the owner and the cat, which I really, really loved. We also have a dog in here called John, which is just great, and each character is dealing with a different thing at a different point in their life. So we have loss in here, we have depression, we have anxiety, agoraphobia, we have relationships in here, loneliness, so many different themes, and honestly I just thought this book was so wonderful. The way everything came together at the end, I cried. I filmed a Patreon reading vlog when I was reading this, and I caught myself on camera crying when I was finishing this book because it just got me in my feels. It just made me feel sentimental and nostalgic, and it was just such a wonderful book, and I honestly cannot recommend this book enough. Whether you like translated fiction or not, if you're a cat lover or not, I just feel like everyone should read this book. Honestly, I loved it, and yeah, I'm so happy that I own a signed copy. Okay, so next we have a 16 Souls by Rosie Talbot, and this is a signed edition and the Waterstones exclusive one. And the most amazing thing about this is that the author is actually a Waterstones bookseller as well, so I really love that. This has been kind of compared to Cemetery Boys, which I haven't read, but I'm so intrigued by this one. So in here we have Charlie, and he realizes that his ghostly friends have been taken over by dark forces, and he teams up with a guy called Sam, and they have to risk their lives and their hearts in order to try and like save their friends and stop this dark evil force. But obviously they both fall in love along the way. So yes, a spooky romance, yes please. It sounds so good, and I cannot wait to read this, and I love the cover as well. I just think it's gorgeous. So next we have the Waterstones exclusive edition of Kingdom of the Feared by Kerry Maniscalco, which is the third book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I'm not gonna lie, I've heard quite bad things about this book, and I'm kind of scared to read it now. So I do plan to read it hopefully soon, because I loved the other two books. I thought the second one wasn't as good as the first one, but I still really enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm a little bit like worried about this one. This one has red sprayed edges, and the exclusive thing about this one is that under the dust jacket it has this amazing design, which is gorgeous. I love this so much. So I have pre-ordered the fairly exclusive edition of this, I believe, but it just hasn't arrived yet. This one, it does also have these end pages, but yeah, I'm not going to go into this because it is the third book in a series. But essentially this series is about a prince of hell and a witch. It has murder mystery, it has lots of fantasy and hell and witches and different things like that, and it's just a really fun romantic fantasy basically. So yeah, I'm still looking forward to reading this. I'm just lowering my expectations. So next we have the third book in a series again, which is Naomi Novik's The Golden Enclaves, and this is the Waterstones exclusive edition. I do really like this gold cover. It's very pretty. I feel like a magpie when I look at it. But yes, it has these amazing sprayed edges. So I have the second book of the series in the Waterstones exclusive edition, but I missed out on the first book in the exclusives, so that's kind of annoying. But yeah, I decided to pick this up because I wanted it to match the second one. I have not read this series yet. I was waiting for them all to be released before I do. I did try to read the first book at one point, but I couldn't get into it. But I'm hoping, like, reading it at a different point in time, I might enjoy it. I've heard this kind of gives dark academia, and I've heard that it's kind of like a more adult version of Harry Potter, and that it's very fun. I know my friend Emily loves this series, so I do really want to give it a go as soon as I can, but we shall see. I really do love the maps in here as well. I know there's kind of like magic and stuff in here, and monsters, and a really scary like university or school or something. That's pretty much all I know about this series, but like I said, I wanted to have the exclusive one to match, and I want to be able to binge read the series hopefully at some point. So I decided to pick it up when I saw it, and I just love this cover. I just think it's gorgeous. So next we have this stunning book. So this is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is the Waterstones exclusive signed edition. So this is one of the anniversary ones, but it doesn't have the green strip here. It just has it like this. So yeah, I was very lucky to manage to grab hold of a signed copy. So I think there was only 500 of these, and I am number 129. And yeah, this is signed, and it's just a really nice thing to have on my bookshelf. So next we have the Waterstones exclusive edition of the Atlas of Paradox, and this is also signed by Olivia Blake. So obviously I've already showed the Illumicrate ones. So this is the second book, and this one has the white cover. We have these amazing sprayed edges, which I do think I prefer over Illumicrates, and then we have these really cool end pages inside as well, and there is the author's signature as well. So yeah, I did pre-order this one to match my Atlas 6 copy, because I got the Waterstones signed exclusive edition last year I think as well. So this one now matches that one, which is really cool. So next we have a signed copy of Wild by Amy Jeffs. This is from the author who wrote Storyland, which is like a mythology of Britain. You all know I'm into my mythology and folklore, especially about Britain, but this one basically is tales from early medieval Britain. So I find that really interesting, and I just love kind of more ancient or medieval history. I just think they're such interesting parts of time, and yeah, like to read what kind of like folk tales and stuff were like popular back then will be so fun. And I believe the audiobook for this has like songs and rhymes in it and stuff. and yeah, I just had to get a signed copy of this. Like, I cannot wait to read this book. And yeah, so I did pick up the signed one. So it has like so many different like tales, and it also has illustrations in. I'm just so happy that I have this, and yeah, it's gonna be a really fun one to read, I think. So next we have the second book in a series, which is The Ballad of Never by Stephanie Garber, and this is signed. So I'm very excited to read this. I read the first book when I received an ARC, I think last year. I read it in one sitting. I absolutely loved it, but I feel like I need to reread it now to read this one. So I'm planning to do that before I do jump into this. From what I remember, this follows like Jack of Hearts, and I think it's Evangeline, is it? And it's set in the same world as Caraval as well. I have not read Caraval yet, but yeah, I'm very excited to dive back into this. So I will just show the signature, which is here, and then they had the exclusive designs under the dust jacket. So this is the one that I ended up with, which is very, very gorgeous. So I love that, and the spine as well is beautiful. Then next we have Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong, and this is the signed and exclusive edition from Waterstones. So this one is a gorgeous cover. I did receive an ARC of this, but never got around to reading it. I wanted to read the duology first, because I believe this follows Juliet's cousin from These Violent Delights, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, this one, it has like an assassin and a spy in it, and romance and an immortal and all this stuff. It just sounds really, really good, and it's set in 1931 Shanghai. So I just feel like the year and the setting is also going to be so interesting. And yeah, I definitely plan to read this once I've read These Violent Delights. So this is the signature, and then the exclusive part is under the dust jacket. So it has this gorgeous, gorgeous design underneath, which I absolutely love. So yeah, this is just beautiful. I'm so happy that I picked this edition up. So that is all of my like signed and special pre-order editions, and now I have like a lot of books to get through that I have like either bought when I've seen out and about, or I've ordered into work and bought them. So there's quite a few to get through. So the first one we have is A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So I actually read this book during Vampathon, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and I was not expecting it to be a 5-star read. This book is written so incredibly beautifully. It's poetic and lyrical, which is one of my favorite writing styles, and it has a lot of dark themes, and it covers a lot of dark topics. So this is kind of focusing on a toxic and abusive relationship, how it's hard to leave one, what kind of things you suffer during one, how you lose your own sense of identity. And yeah, it was told very interestingly through the perspective of one of Dracula's brides. So we did also get the vampire kind of vibe as well, and I loved how it went through like different ages and different places, and I love like the historical side as well. I just thought this book was incredible, and I'm so glad that I did read it, and I'm happy now that I also own the hardcover edition, which is just a gorgeous, gorgeous copy. So yeah, it has the red sprayed edges, and it just looks like this here. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. It's definitely my top 10 of the year, and I'm just so happy that I read it finally. So next we have The High Mountain Court by A.K. Mulford, and this is book 1 in a series. The reason I bought this was because some of the reviews had compared it to ACOTAR, and you all know, as you can see behind me, ACOTAR is my fave. But we have like a witch in here who's like the last of her kind, and she's struggling like with her powers, trying to stay hidden. And then I think we have a prince, and I think her and the prince are kind of drawn to each other. There's like a war happening and politics and all this other stuff, and I'm hoping a bit of romance. So it does sound really, really good. This hardcover is also really, really cute. I got this at Waterstones. They just had it there, and I was like, you sound really good. I need more fantasy and more romance. And yeah, I have heard of this book the odd time, so I thought I'd pick the first one up to see how it goes, and hopefully it is a really fun one. Let me know in the comments if you have read this, because I would be really interested to know if it does compare to ACOTAR or anything similar. So yeah, I decided to give it a go based off that, and I think the synopsis sounds really fun. I love it when like two people who you wouldn't expect like to have to be thrown together in something are, and then they have to embark on this like journey to be able to find like their inner strength and also save like their kingdom and stuff. I just love that kind of thing, so I feel this will be a really fun read. Then next we have this one, which I don't know if it's a middle grade or not, I can't remember, but it's by Joseph Fink, and it's called The Halloween Moon. I randomly stumbled upon this, I can't remember where, but I just thought it sounded really, really good, and it sounded really creepy as well. So I did want to read this during spooky season, but I just didn't get to it, so I will be saving this for next year. So basically it says here we have Esther, and she loves Halloween. Her parents think she's too old to go trick-or-treating, but she's like, nope, that's not going to stop me, I'm going. But then she realizes something isn't quite right, and she's knocking at all these doors and nobody is answering. The moon is this weird shade of orange. There's weird little kids roaming the streets, and it says here that the only people awake to see all of this is Esther, her best friend, her school bully, and her grown-up next door neighbor. And it says together they must like band together to try and save Halloween and to not be trapped in this night forever. So it sounds really, really creepy, like ghosts and stuff like that. And yeah, I just really want to read it. And this reminds me of the Upside Down as well. Like, that's what this reminds me of. So this next one is A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. So I think this came out quite a while ago, but I finally found it in a bookstore, and look how gorgeous like the illustrations and chapter headers are in here. So I had to buy this. I think this is like a dark retelling of Sleeping Beauty, and I love retellings and I love short books at the moment, so I cannot wait to read this. I just love short stories and retellings, so yeah, very, very excited to read this, and I just think it will be a really fun read. It says on the front it's a vivid, submersive and feminist reimagining of Sleeping Beauty. So yeah, can't wait to read this one. I definitely will be reading this very, very soon. Then next we have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. So this is a cozy fantasy, I'm told. I don't know too much about this one except for that. It says that it's a cozy, heartwarming story of found family, fresh starts, and the perfect cup of coffee. And this has really cool end pages inside as well. I really do want to read this. I feel like it's going to be a really fun book, and I've heard so many good things, and cozy fantasy just sounds perfect for this time of year. I don't think you could find a better genre of fantasy to be reading during like the holiday season. So I will definitely be reading this in November or December, so I cannot wait to read it. So next we have a book that is an anthology of folk horror stories. So this is The Gathering Dark, and this is by several different authors. So we have Hannah Witten and Chloe Gongin here. Very, very excited to read this book because it will give me a taste for some authors that I've never read before, and it's just a collection of really dark and spooky tales. So this next one is called Sign Here, and this is by Claudia Lux, and I am obsessed with this cover. What it says here is that it's a darkly humorous, surprisingly poignant and utterly gripping debut novel about a guy who works in hell, literally, and is on the cusp of a big promotion if only he can get one more member of the wealthy Harrison family to sell their soul. So yeah, I love the sound of this, like a guy who works in hell. Like, it just sounds so fun. Okay, so next we do have The Whispering Dark. So I'm not going to talk about this one, but this is what the standard hardcover looks like. It's purple. I think I do prefer the purple rather than the pink that Illumicrate did. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun read, but I just don't know if I'm going to keep this copy or not, just because I have the Illumicrate one, so we'll see. Next we have Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross, and I think Rebecca Ross also wrote A River Enchanted, which I haven't read yet. But this has deckled like edges. I love books with deckled edges. I don't know why, I just think they're so cool. But it says here it's a rich and nuanced story about vengeance, family, and the captivating power of dreams. And I just thought it sounded so fun because it's about dreams and magicians. So yeah, I just thought it was really intriguing, and I've never heard anyone talk about this before. So next we have this middle grade, which is called Head Witch, and this says Witches Aren't Born, They're Made, and this is by Skye McKenna. I just loved this cover when I saw this. It reminded me of Kiki's Delivery Service, and I had a cat on the cover, so I was like, yes. And basically in this we follow Cassie, and her mother had gone missing, and she was in this boarding school, and one day she just decides to escape the boarding school and go and try and find her mother for herself. But when she goes into the outside world, it's filled with hidden magic, and children have been going missing. And then we have a talking cat and a flying broom, and she escapes this enchanted village, and she starts practicing her skills of like magic and witchcraft. And she does this with the hedge witch, who watches over the hedge, which is like a vast forest between England and Fairy. So I just thought it sounded really cool. It's set in the UK, it's witchy, it sounds really fun. I just thought it would be really, really cute. So I'm really glad that I got this, and I love the sound of a talking cat as well. So next we have A Boss Witch by Anne Aguirre, and I got this one when I was in the bookstore. I just thought it sounded really good. I was trying to get some more witchy rom-coms to read after I finished The Cascade. We have a witch and like a small town, and then we have a witch hunter, and so I think the witch and the witch hunter start to fall for one another, so I love the sound of that. It's kind of like enemies to lovers kind of vibe, small town vibe. Speaking of witchy rom-coms, we also have Hex Appeal by Kate Johnson. So in this one we have a bunch of witches who live in this flat, I think in Essex, and then they have this landlord who like discovers the witches and they haven't been paying rent for like hundreds of years, and somehow he ends up getting involved with a witch there and a romance starts to bloom between them. So that's pretty much all I know. It just sounds really, really good, and I love this cover as well. Then next we have a Christmassy romance, which is Just Like Magic by Sarah Hogle. So I don't know much about this. I just bought this because you don't need to tell me anything more other than Christmas and romance, and my manager recommended this to me, so I decided to get it, and I'm going to go into it not knowing anything and just have a nice fun time. I feel like it's going to be really whimsical and magical, wholesome, cozy, cute. Apparently it has all of those vibes. So yes, I did need to stock up on some more holiday romance reads, so I will hopefully be reading this one in December. Next we have Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer. I love this cover. I think it is so cool. This basically follows a group of women in this like suburban kind of town, and I think they do some kind of renovation project on one of the women's houses, and it releases some kind of demonic force into their neighborhood. And I think one of their friends gets possessed as well. So it's basically about them trying to like figure it out and stop it and stuff. It just sounds really fun, and it's also supposed to be quite funny as well. So yeah, this one I just can't wait to read. I think it's going to be such a fun time. Next one is just a random one I picked up, which is Mary Shelley's Transformation. So this is a really short book. It's like 100 and something pages, and it has like 3 different stories I believe from Mary Shelley. So we have Transformation, The Mortal Immortal, and The Evil Eye. So I just thought these would be like a nice introduction to Mary Shelley's writing, and I had planned to read this during Halloween but sadly didn't get to it, but I will definitely pick it up at some point because it's a nice short read and it will be really fun to read these short stories. Next we have another short story, which is Halloween Fiend by C.B. Hunt. I got this one because it's about Halloween and it's kind of fun and it's a short story, and I'm really into those at the moment. So this next book I can't really remember much about, but I saw it at the bookstore and I was really intrigued, and I read reviews on my phone on Goodreads and I was like, this sounds like my kind of story. I just remember it being compared to Actar, and we have some kind of like weird world with like gods, and there's some kind of like North Wind Frost King kind of god or something, and it says here that someone's bound in wedlock to this dark god as well, which is this human girl, and it says that it's a newly reimagined tale written in the vein of Beauty and the Beast and Hades and Persephone. So when I heard that, I was definitely reassured that this was the book for me. I love retellings of Beauty and the Beast and Hades and Persephone, so I decided to get this, and that is The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick, and it says a mortal suffering ends with death, a god's suffering is forever. So yeah, this is quite a chunky book as well. It is over 600 pages, but I'm in my kind of fantasy romance era, so I decided to pick it up. If you've read this, let me know your thoughts, let me know what it's similar to, but I'm hoping it will be good because yeah, I've never heard of it before and it just sounds really interesting. And yeah, like I said, I'm in my fantasy romance era, so I need all of the fantasy romance. So speaking of fantasy, we also have this one, which is Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. I picked this up super randomly because it just reminded me a little bit of Throne of Glass when I read the synopsis for it, but I can't really remember a lot of it. I just know that our main character is like a killer slash assassin. She's like a badass, and I just thought it sounded really intriguing. And I know there's also Fae in here, and she like tracks one of her targets like into the Fae world, and I think when she gets there she starts to realize like maybe the real enemy isn't the Fae but her own king, and maybe they're the corrupt one. And yeah, she basically not only has to save herself but her entire kingdom, and I love those kind of books, like who doesn't? So I thought this sounded really cool, so I decided to pick it up. I haven't really heard much about it at all, so again, if you've read this one, let me know your thoughts, because I just feel like this could be one of those really good underrated fantasy books, or maybe people have been talking about this and I just live under a rock, but I've never heard of it before, and it came into the bookstore and I just had to get it. Like, it just sounded so good. I love an assassin, fae, like yes. Then we have another witchy book, which is Cackle by Rachel Harrison, and I don't know much about this, but it says on the back, a deliciously dark feminist tale of witches, bad ex-boyfriends, good coffee and friendly spiders. So I decided to get this because I've seen a few of my favorite booktubers and just some people who like review books on Twitter, whose reviews I trust, talk about this, and obviously during like Halloween and spooky season I was just buying all of the witchy books, so I decided to pick this one up, and this will probably be on my TBR next October because it does sound amazing, and apparently it's got like practical magic vibes, and I love the cover as well. I think the cover is stunning. Okay, so this next one, I'm not going to go too much into what it's about because I think I already hauled it in my last book haul. This is just the US edition, and yeah, I decided to get this because Under the Dust Jacket is too pretty, but that's the US edition of Belladonna by Adeline Grace. So this is a gothic fantasy with a death and this girl who can cheat death, and underneath the dust jacket we have this amazing design which is gorgeous. Like, look at this. I absolutely adore this edition, and it has these cool end pages as well. So that's the only reason I got this, was because of the design under the dust jacket. So next we have a sequel, which is Clown in a Cornfield 2 Friendo Lives, and this is by Adam Caesar. So I read the first book, Clown in a Cornfield, in October, and I did really enjoy it. I think I gave it 4 stars. It's a really good horror slasher. It is YA, but it's very gory, and it has murder and like a small town. It's really creepy, and it definitely gives me Stephen King vibes as well. So I did decide to get the sequel because I do really want to read it. I had planned to get to this during Vampathon, but I just didn't. So I do still have the audiobook downloaded, so I will probably pick it up quite soon, but I'm interested to see where the story's gonna go and what's gonna happen based off the way the first book ended. But if you're looking for a good slasher that's still YA, then this is a really good series. So this next one is another witchy one, which is The Witch Haven by Sasha Payton Smith. And all I know about this is that we have witches, we have a romance, I think, and fantasy. That's pretty much it. Excited to read this because I have heard very good things about it, and a few people during the Vampathon sprints were reading this book and saying it was amazing, so it's made me very excited to read it. Then next we have Autumn of the Grimoire, and this is by J.L. Vamper, and this has witches but assassins. So yes, on the front it says some witches cast spells, others slay kings. I just love that. I honestly love that. So on the back here it says a mysterious grimoire, a marriage full of dark secrets, a history sculpted by a quartet of sister witches. So yeah, it sounds amazing. It says here it's a tale of adventure, magic, romance and mystery, rich world building and dark secrets that will have you on the edge of your seat and begging for more. So I saw this on the author's Instagram. I just randomly came across it. I think this is self-published, and yeah, it just sounded really good. Also, I love the chapter headings, and I want to read more self-published books, and this one just sounded really good. And look at the cover as well. It's very autumnal and like dark academia. So next we have A Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson, and this one I just think is one of the nicest covers I've ever seen. I think this is a romance, and it involves kind of like true crime vibes, so I don't know much about it, but again, I would like to keep it that way. I really do want to go into this one not knowing much and be surprised, because I just think it sounds so fun. So many people have said this is very good. Ali Hazelwood really loved this as well, and I really love Ali Hazelwood's books, so I definitely do want to read this one, and I'm definitely intrigued by it. So next we have another fantasy romance, and this one is Ilahara, I think it's called, and it's called The Last Marasa, and this is by C.M. Karras, and I love this cover. It's gorgeous. This is a fantasy romance, and yeah, this has like a princess in it who loses her dragon and entire family, and I think she wants like revenge. She goes to the human continent to seek a refuge there, and like leaves her magical past behind her, and she takes on like a new identity as an assassin who has dark powers, who can like blend into the shadows. And then we have a prince whose family are responsible for ruining this princess's life and killing her family and taking her kingdom from her, and he can't escape the memories of the brutal death of the prince he once called a friend, and he is the heir to this kind of blood-drenched throne essentially. And it says here, but when a crone proclaims the last of the dragon blessed rulers still lives and prophesies her return, friend and foe alike set out to find her, the prince among them. Yet he discovers that she is not only a cold and beautiful assassin, but also the princess he once knew. He hesitates in killing her. So yes, it sounds really good. I think it's enemies to lovers, and we have a dragon queen. It just sounds really good, and yeah, I can't wait to read this. And the last book that I have bought myself is Secrets of the Witch, an initiation into our history and our wisdom. So I read this during Vampathon. This is actually a children's book, and it's all about the history of witches, witchcraft itself, and the kind of folklore of witchcraft. It's very good if you're looking for an introduction to the history of witchcraft as well. This covers so many different things, and it's so well done the way it shows over the centuries how women have been perceived and witchcraft has, and how it's kind of evolved into the modern day. It's a very interesting. I love this book, and I would definitely recommend it. So that is all the books that I have bought for myself. The last big pile I have is all the books I've very kindly been gifted by publishers. So there are quite a few to get through. So the first book I have is The Other Ones by Fran Hart. I've spoken about this before, so I'm not really going to go into it, but I was sent a finished copy with this gorgeous Watson's exclusive sprayed edge. So this is a queer kind of mystery, and it is described as Heartstopper meets Gilmore Girls, but make it a bit spooky. So yes, this is a gorgeous little edition. I love the sprayed edges as well. Thank you very much to Chicken House for sending me a copy of this book. Then next, somebody reached out to me to see if I wanted a copy of Small Angels by Lauren Owen, and I said yes, because I've heard this is very gothic and kind of dark fairy tale-esque. This cover is absolutely gorgeous as well. I love it. So on Waterstones it says, masterfully fusing folklore and captivating gothic mystery, Owen's elegant and sly debut sees a young woman prepare for her wedding in the eerie church of a remote village. So yeah, this sounds so eerie and gothic, and I cannot wait to read this, and I love the cover so much. I think it's gorgeous. So next we have Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. So I was very kindly sent this, and this is a rom-com, I think, and basically we have this writer who gets a new editor. He's really hot, but he's really mean, and then I think some kind of accident happens and his ghost appears on her doorstep one day. They begin to fall for each other. She's fallen in love with a ghost. It sounds really good. So yeah, I love the sound of a paranormal romance, and I think this will be really, really fun, and I have heard very good things about this one. Speaking of romance, we have Ellie Kennedy's Bad Girl Reputation. So I have read the other one, Good Girl Complex, which I think is in this kind of like, not necessarily a series, but you know what I mean, like world kind of thing. I don't actually know anything about this one, but I believe it's similar to the Good Girl Complex, which I really, really enjoyed. So I'm going to keep it that way and go into this not knowing much, but Ellie Kennedy's books are always just really fun romance reads. So next we have The Haunted Hills by Burley Doherty, and this one is set in the Peak District, which I really, really like. And it says here that we have Carl, who visits the Peak District with his parents to try and recover from the fallout of a horrific accident, and then he becomes caught up in the mysterious tale of the lost lad. Are the hills actually haunted, or is Carl being chased by his own demons? As past and present collide, Carl must learn to come to terms with the loss of his best friend Jack and find a way to move on. So yeah, this sounds really, really dark, and like it covers a lot of different themes. I also really, really love this cover as well, and I like the fact that it's set in the Peak District because I really love the Peak District. So yes, thank you so much to the publisher for sending me a copy of this book. Then next I was very kindly sent a proof of the next Jessie Q Sotonto, which is Well, That Was Unexpected. So this is a romance, I believe, and I'm very excited to read this because I saw another bookseller absolutely love this book. And it says here, set against the lush backdrop of Indonesia, this outrageously funny fake dating rom-com with a twist has all the glamour of Crazy Rich Asians with the family warmth and swoony romance of Bridgerton. So I can't wait to read this. Fake dating is one of my favourite tropes. I feel like this is going to be so fun, and like I said, I've heard so many good things. So next we have Grave Secrets by Alice James, and I don't know if I did mention this in my last book haul, but it's basically a spooky rom-com, and it has like zombies and vampires and all different things in it, and there is going to be a sequel. I love this cover as well, and I'm very excited to read this one because I love anything that's spooky and romance. Trying to pick up the pace a bit because this video is really long, but next we have Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Roberts. So I was very kindly sent this proof by the publisher, but it has come out in September. So we have The Ghostwoods by CJ Cook, who also wrote The Lighthouse Witches. This actually came out in October, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But in this we have ghosts, we have an ancient forest, so I love the sound of that. So next we have a proof of Tessa Bailey's Secretly Yours. I cannot wait to read this. I am still holding out for my girl Tessa Bailey because I read Killer Vacation by her a few months ago now, and it has kind of shaken my faith in her, I'm not gonna lie. Then I saw this one and I was like, yeah, never mind, I need that book, and now I can't wait to read this. So this comes out I think in February next year, and it says here it's a steamy new rom-com about a starchy professor and the bubbly neighbour he clashes with at every turn. So next I was very kindly gifted a proof of Flower Heart by Catherine Bakewell, and this one comes out in March next year, I believe. Look how gorgeous this cover is as well, it's so beautiful. And listen to this on the back, it says a standalone cottagecore fantasy romance that fans of Margaret Rogerson will swoon over. I really have loved Margaret Rogerson's books. I would describe them as cozy fantasy, so I'm so excited to read this one, and because this is described as cottagecore fantasy romance, I cannot wait to read it. I feel like I'm going to really, really enjoy this one. Then next we have God Killer by Hannah Kaner, and this comes out in January next year. This is a fantasy that I believe is going to be part of a series, and on the back it says she makes a living killing gods and enjoys it until she finds a god she cannot kill, and I believe this is like a knight and stuff that kills gods. It just sounds so good. Also, the Waterstones exclusive edition of this book is absolutely stunning, and if you haven't seen it or pre-ordered it, go and check it out. These sprayed edges, wow, just wow. Like, I'm so excited to get my hands on that. But yeah, for now I have this gorgeous proof and I cannot wait to read it. Then next I was very kindly sent this proof, which is by Heather Fawcett, and this is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and look how gorgeous this proof is. Enter the world of the hidden folk and discover the most whimsical, enchanting and heartwarming tale you'll read this year, starring the intrepid Emily Wilde. So this sounds incredible. I love grumpy romance and I love the sound of this, and I love the aesthetic of this book as well. So I'm very excited to read this. So yeah, I will definitely be picking this up very, very soon. This comes out in January 2023. And then lastly, we have this gorgeous hardback proof of Now She Is Witch by Kirsty Logan. Just look at this. Like, how beautiful is this proof? I'm obsessed. I love the wolf on the back and the end pages as well. Wow. So this comes out on the 12th of January next year, and it says here, you must stay away from the North Witches, my mother says. What we do isn't the same as what those witches do. Lux has lost everything when Else finds her alone in the woods, her family, her lover, her home all burned. The world is suspicious of women like her, neither maiden nor mother, but Lux is cunning. She knows how to exploit people's expectations, how to blend into the background, and she knows a lot about poison. Elsa's not found Lux by accident. She needs her help to seek revenge against the man who wronged her, and together they pursue him north. But on their hunt, they will uncover dark secrets that entangle them with dangerous adversaries. From snowy winter woods to the bright midnight sun, from the horrors of plague to the relief of healing, from lost and powerless to finding your path, Now She Is Witch questions the oppositions that shadow our lives. In rich and immersive prose, Kirsty Logan conjures a world of violence and beauty in which women grasp at power through witchcraft and poisons, through sexuality and childbearing, through performance and pretense, and most of all, through throwing other women to the wolves. This is a witch story unlike any other. How freaking good does that sound? How good does that sound? Literally so obsessed with this proof, and I cannot wait to read this. I love my witchy books and this just sounds incredible. So that does conclude all of the books that I have recently either received or hauled. I am so excited about every single one of these books. I want to put all of them on my immediate TBR because they all sound incredible. I really do hope you guys found some new books you may not have heard about before through this video. I really love doing book hauls because I feel like they're a great way for people to find new books, to promote new authors, to promote self-published authors as well, and just to show some beautiful books that exist in the world. So I'm very, very grateful to have received all of these books, to have been able to buy all these books, and I definitely recognize my privilege in being able to have all of these. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please let me know in the comments which books here you have read, what you thought of them. If you have any recommendations as well, feel free to leave them in the comments, and also let me know if you're now interested in any of these books or planning to buy any of them. I would absolutely love to know which ones have tickled your fancy and you are now going to go and get. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did make it to the end of this video, leave a book or sword emoji in the comments, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It really does help me out, and I really do appreciate everyone who takes the time to do that. And most importantly, don't forget to check the description box to find the link to Serious Readers website and to find out all the information you need to be able to use my discount code and on the lights that I have. Like I've already said in every video I've done with them and in the beginning of this one, I really do recommend their reading lights. They're absolutely amazing, and I'm so grateful that I have one and that I'm able to work with them. So I hope you guys can also take advantage of their very generous discount code they have given me. But yes, all of that will be linked in the description box down below, along with the link to my Patreon, and that's where you can find extra content from me, such as reading vlogs, a monthly buddy read, a monthly readathon, a Discord, live shows, and so much more is all on there. And there will be lots of Christmas content coming to my Patreon, so if you don't want to miss out on any of that, make sure you check out the link. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're safe and well. I hope you're reading lots of good books, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.